learned about the failures of South Africa and learned the wrong lessons, of course, which wasn't to instantly change what they were doing and offer citizenship and liberty to the Palestinians that they were oppressing. Instead, they went in the opposite direction. This is why I use the South African apartheid as an analog when describing the conditions in Israel, because it's one that, like, albeit did not actually offer the proper economic restoration that was necessary in the aftermath of the dissolution, but it's important to recognize that, like, at least the legal structure was eradicated, and you are watching dumb Americans who are terrified of reparations point to South Africa as a country where they are doing what they fantasized newly freed black people would do in the aftermath of the abolition of slavery, and on numerous other instances throughout American history where there have been civil rights struggles. Like, this is precisely what the Americans think. They think, like, affirmative action is basically white genocide, the most racist American. So it's perhaps one of the most dangerous idiotic conspiracies to entertain, and Donald Trump, of course, is entertaining it.
You gotta get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatar jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC, because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead. Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Thank you so much. President Trump, Adam Dawson from EFCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know.
I don't know. It doesn't seem real because it's not real. I don't know what he should do.
These are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death.
This was in his notes. Like, I saw a report coming out of the office that it was like he literally had a note sheet that just said death.
Horrible death. Death. I don't know. To pick anyone, white South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couple saying that they were attacked violently.
President Trump, when will you go and see for yourself if it is?
Well, I can do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter. This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get your reaction to those videos?
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what. And I have other friends in South Africa, people that left, and one in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land, and they kill you. It's okay, and they're saying it's okay to do. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous, look, this is story recent. These are all people that recently got killed. And I don't know how it can get any worse.
a new 40 beheaded babies. This time, the Afrikaner edition.
So the men that you saw, the people that you saw.
Yes, I think it's also a way to undermine and soften the term genocide in the media zeitgeist, taking its power away when used for Gaza, as people see it used for this shit show, while also being like, hey, don't get any ideas. African Americans, that certainly is a part of this as well. You're not wrong.
Well, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march. They had a dance.
I hate this so much. I hate it so much. It's like it's stupidity. It's dangerous levels of stupidity paired up with dangerous levels of racism, and it's getting elevated to a position of prominence by the president. It's the worst. It's so bad. We are so goddamn cooked, dude. This is what happens when you got a groiper president. It's so frustrating.
In your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Well, let me clarify that.
Yeah,
let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases, or in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can
and then
take
when
land.
they take the land, they kill the white farmer. And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No.
Oh, just a maddening situation. Because, like, he's so cucked, he has to play nice. He has to play nice. Yeah, luckily Trump didn't make a bigger deal about the ICJ situation. Yeah, thank God he's so stupid he doesn't know what's going on there. That he's not bringing that up to be like, well, you know, you say that Israel's doing a genocide when it's not. It's just defending itself. But you're doing a genocide to the white farmers. Why? Why doesn't he just rip him a new one in front of the camera? I don't know, because it's the United States of America we're talking about. Think about the unprecedented amount of power that they have on the global stage. If he wanted to, he could literally arrest this person and claim that he was arresting this person for the crime of genocide. Okay? Do you understand the amount of power that the American president has? They could literally arrest him on the spot and say, you're doing a genocide, I'm arresting you. What are you going to do about it?
Remember,
once it was made clear that black people were possibly going to run South Africa, they had to dissolve their nuclear program, so they don't even have nukes to retaliate, so they have no power. So what are they supposed to do? Who's going to go back and say, hey, what are you doing? Think about what Israel has done so far. The only reason why they're able to do this is because they are backed by the United States of America. So if, like, there is nothing that the United States of America could do that any other country is going to turn around and complain about. The only thing that people could do is just like try to play ball to the best of their ability and hope that like this insanity passes by. That's it. BRICS? Yeah, BRICS. Totally, dude. You're right. South Africa India is going to tell America, hey, you can't arrest the South African leader. What are you talking about? The only thing that I hope people can draw out of this is that this is in some ways not different than the way he treated Zelensky. Okay, this is yet another obvious showcase that like there is no real democratic process. What America says goes, and when this guy is holding on to the reins, he's already dropping the pretext of democracy or the democratic process or diplomacy, and he's just showing you exactly how this power dynamic works. That's what's so frustrating about this, is that all of those people that turn around and say, well, Hassan, you say America bad, but like look at all the beautiful liberalism that America has engaged in. This is it. This is what was going on behind closed doors anyway. And now Donald Trump has made it so that everyone can recognize exactly what this power dynamic looks like.
There is
Nothing happens.
There is criminality in our country. People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity are not only white people. The majority of them are black people. And we have now been utilizing...
The farmers are not black.
That's not true. It's actually the farmhands that are getting killed. He's also wrong about that too. When he says like, the farmers are white, the farmers are white. No, the farm owners are white, and you're still wrong anyway. The farm workers are black. I wonder how that works. I wonder why it works that way. The farm owners are white. The farm workers are black. When farm murders are taking place, they're talking about the black people that are being killed in the farms. It's still overwhelmingly black people that are victims of all forms of economic violence, of all forms of structural violence and direct violence in South Africa. South Africa is a very imbalanced country, okay? There is a shit ton of wealth disparity in the country. It is still very much a de facto, even though it's not a legal structure of apartheid, there's still a not so legal de facto structure of apartheid when it comes to the economics of everyday black existence in South Africa, as opposed to the Afrikaners and white South Africans that live in Johannesburg.
I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect to their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off, they died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here. But I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake like NBC, which is fake news, totally, one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS, horrible. But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did a country give a free, think of this, why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay, the United States, not to me, to the United States.
Still talking about the stupid ass plane, bro. White people are 8% of South Africa's population but own 72% of the land. Black South Africans are 80% of the population but only own 4%. But there's a genocide against white South Africans. So then you look more into it, and it turns out that there were a total of 50 white farmers killed last year, many of whom were killed by their family and friends. So white South African farmers are the safest group in the entire country, but there's a genocide against them. I'm not sure if you saw my message, but they used Boer, which simply means farmer in Afrikaans, and Boer meaning Afrikaner, interchangeably depending on the motives. I don't care. White farmer in South Africa gets into a car crash and they're like, this is white genocide. Now, here's the thing. The actual reason why people are actually complaining about this is because on the legal front, the ANC has fallen out of grace. They've fallen out of favor. Okay? They've lost a lot of their popularity. South Africa experiences blackouts. Their energy grid gets pummeled regularly. They have a lot of issues in South Africa. A lot of, the stuff that we talk about in terms of like the remnants of this apartheid still very much exist in South Africa. And the ANC is very unpopular. And in that process of unpopularity, they've decided to actually enact the constitutional change that was supposed to happen in like 1994. Okay? And the process, and I'm telling you, this process is constitutionally protected. It was supposed to happen immediately after the apartheid was dissolved. Okay? There was supposed to be an expropriation of land, an ownership exchange from the white landowners in apartheid South Africa to the state. Okay? Keep saying buzzwords. Oh my God. Oh my God, I cannot deal with this. brother, your stupidity does not, you can't make it my problem that you're too stupid to understand the words I'm using. Like, read a book, maybe start with a dictionary. Holy shit. Oh, like, maybe don't watch political commentary or go to a political commentator that is speaking at your level. It said buzzwords, dude. What are we doing, man? The situation is so dire. I am losing so much confidence in my fellow citizens every single day. I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, chat brigading is getting worse. That means you hurt them. Lol. I know. The soy right is the soy right has maintained ownership over their feelings being hurt. They just like keep they have this crazy ownership over being stupid. Not defending the Kill the Boer song, but his history was in fighting the apartheid. He used Boer to refer to the Afrikaner supremacist national party government. It was not referring to all white people. I know. And I also don't care that they sing Kill the Boer. Like, yeah, they do. Who cares? I don't give a shit. Okay? I don't care. Like, the major problem in South Africa isn't that Malema is too aggressive in his commentary towards white people. Okay? And he's edgy. The major problem in South Africa is what I'm talking about. The lack of economic redistribution that was supposed to happen in the aftermath of the dissolution of the apartheid. It never took place. And as a consequence of that, that inequality has festered. That's the actual issue. It's not like, mean words being said by the EFF. I don't care. It's on the same level. It's even worse, honestly. But yeah, it's like talking about Israelis' feelings during their genocidal campaign on Gaza. Like, I don't give a shit what the Israeli feelings are. What are you, stupid? Are you insane? Why the f would I care about that? Like, what do you think is more consequential? The feelings of Israelis while they're doing a genocide, or the genocide itself? Liberals are so distorted in their principles that they just can't comprehend that, like, systematic harm is far more consequential, far worse, far more pervasive, legalized, and must be dealt with, as opposed to the mean words that people say against said lack of distribution of wealth. They're resetting the history of South Africa in the mind of the American? Yeah, I guess. Oh. Your stance is rock solid? Yes, it is. It is. And if you try to twist this back to like some kind of neo-Nazi sentiment, you will recognize that there is no systematic harm being done to white people in the United States of America. And it's just a product of your imagination. So of course I'm not going to take that seriously. Especially at a time when the Trump administration is directed by the white supremacists themselves. So when they say white supremacist shit in the United States of America, that's a lot more meaningful and a lot more dangerous.
United States Air Force, so they could help us out, because we need an Air Force.
What we would all take.
I would take, if your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay. But coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about them.
Well,
and this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States,
those are all death.
Yeah, in many ways, I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and that you are raising concerns, and these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, the criminality that we are experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological capability. And one of our areas in South Africa, we usually use technology, which is able to, in many ways...
I did not skip over the South African president wishing he could offer a plane. I heard him. And Trump said, I would gladly take your plane. I know. This is how we do business now, okay? It's literally paying the king for fealty. Okay? That is how this works. Trump is the God King. He's got the heavens mandate, and every other nation leader has to pay the piper. They have to go up to the king. They have to go up to the king and say, please, sir, we have gifts for you.
Identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that because there is support that we can get from you and the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
Are there any other punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things in the Republic of Sweden are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in, many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, very bad. And because of, we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad, but we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated.
That's not even true. You brought in 58 of the most heart disease Nazis you could find. That's it. There aren't thousands of people. I don't even think there are thousands of Afrikaners that would come to the United States of America. Why the f would they? Half of them that are racist are still LARPing as though they are engaging in the act of settler colonialism in like the 18th century. And the other half are obviously cognizant that there is no white genocide.
And we do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land.
Dude, can you imagine? I mean, it's just like trying to describe to Donald Trump of all people the concept of reparations is crazy. Like perhaps one of the worst people to explain this to. In his mind, when he hears this, he's like, oh, so you're admitting that there is a genocide going on. White Americans think there's a white genocide going on when you talk about like affirmative action, dude. Deeply selfish, deeply stupid, deeply racist people.
For public use.
And you're doing it.
And we've never really gotten underway with that. And we are doing
you're taking people's land away.
We have not.
From them. And those people in many cases are being executed. They're being executed. And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, and in many cases those people are being executed. And in many cases it's not the government that does it, it's people kill them and then take their land, and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa. It's a bad thing. Yeah, please.
What can South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Well, we just spoke about, I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. I was asked by the president if he could help, and I did that. And, I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries, but I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a couple of friends, a few friends here today, and I have many friends from South Africa. But Many of those friends are not, they can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa. I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all I have to do, get him into another thing. But
bro, he's literally like, I'll send him back. I'll send him back and you're cooked. That's a threat, dude. That is the biggest threat possible. I'll send Elon Musk's annoying ass back to South Africa is probably the worst thing you can say. Ay, ay, ay.
Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars, okay? He likes that better. He likes that subject better. But Elon is from South Africa. I don't...
Yeah, he admits that he's entertaining this stupid thing, partially because he wants to give catnip to the white nationalists and white supremacists, who he's kind of fallen out of favor with because like of his unconditional loyalty to Israel. So he has to like recover. He has to recover that. It's a perfect way to do it, by the way, because this way you can also attack. You do this while you're simultaneously attacking South Africa for its court case against Israel's genocide at ICJ. Fantastic.
I don't think it's fair to him.
That's right.
But I will say that people are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated.
Why is the entire world pandering to the U.S. and Trump like this? Why isn't there some kind of inside coup? Why is the USA as the world superpower always as the status quo? Why not try to change it, challenge it at the very least? I think a lot of people that ask questions like this are asking very good questions. And I think those people are basically understanding the position that I have been at for the past 12 years of my professional media career, where I kept describing to people that like when events are unfolding around the world, America always has a hand in said events. When I say like, oh, America bad, or whenever my naysayers constantly say, Hassan says America bad, why do you always blame America for this? Why do you always blame America for that? You're beginning to recognize how much power the United States of America has. That's it. The only difference is Donald Trump has done away with the fake diplomacy. Donald Trump does not play the role of diplomat as previous leadership did in an effort to maintain some semblance of soft power capabilities. America's not playing that game anymore. It's saying we are the global hegemon. You do what we say. We say jump, you say how high. The reality is that countries are self-interested and are desperate. South Africa cannot afford to shut off American investments. They just can't. You can't blame impoverished countries for doing what they need to do to survive. But every other country is in the same status. That's the whole point. When compared to the United States of America, there is a reason why the entirety of the European Union will place themselves in a servile status to American interest. That's because America runs the world. Like, I think a lot of people just refuse to recognize this. And I guess like the silver lining here with Trump's indecent nature is that it's making it impossible to deny. This is the real global order. Trump is basically piercing through that veil. Trump is basically unsheathing America's global dominance for all to see. He's saying it like it is. Turns out all it took for many people was the semblance of diplomacy from leaders in the past to make it seem as though other countries have a say. Other countries have some semblance of sovereignty in this process. They don't. And this is how it's been since the Cold War ended. The most countries can do is basically try to leverage the United States of America for better deals by cozying up to China. That's what the BRICS is.
And in many cases, they're being killed. And that scene, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them. And those trucks or cars are paying their respects to all of those dead people on a Sunday morning. That's a rough thing to explain away. And the problem we have, and the way, a correct and a fair media exposes things. But
I do think there is an alternative vision here, but that alternative vision requires European countries to actually switch ownership away from the United States of America to behave like the BRICS nations have done so far by cozying up to China. But they too are far too Orientalist in their framework to engage in this. They are, for lack of a better term, too racist for their own good. I'm not saying like, you know, become China's lapdog. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what they could do in order to at least threaten America's hegemonic power status is to basically leverage the build a better relationship with China in an effort to have more leverage against the United States of America, because collectively the entirety of the world, the entirety of the planet could actually take on American hegemonic power status. Obviously a major hurdle against that is NATO. But wouldn't America lose their shit over that? Like, wouldn't they try to punish those countries for doing so? I mean, this goes back to the same principle behind what are they going to do? Kill all of us? Like, if there is only so much, there's only so much pressure. There's only so much pressure you can apply. Like, there are competing interests here. No, the answer is not yes, okay? That's ridiculous. Like, there is another way out of this, okay? Why do you trust China so much? They wouldn't allow our speech? Oh my God, I'm losing my mind. There is real reason not to trust China. Look at the... And they are communist. You don't even know how to spell Uyghur. And then you use communist as a pejorative. You think I give a shit that the Communist Party of China is communist? Yeah, no. That's not a pejorative here. That's a benefit, okay? Anyway, I didn't even say offer unconditional fealty to China like you have with the United States of America. Wait, hold on. Wait 1 second. How are you able to cherry pick the dumbest people in the chat? I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying offer unconditional loyalty to China, become servile to Chinese interests. I'm simply stating that there are a lot of countries that are in the periphery that have cozied up to China in an effort to bargain better with the United States of America, in an effort to get leverage. Okay? And this is what European leaders should be doing as well. China hasn't proven itself to be a meaningful alternative to the U.S. in the ways that the USSR did, but it's certainly better than nothing to give countries a second option if they want involvement in the global economy. Exactly.
We have a very corrupt media. They won't even report this. If this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say apartheid, terrible. That was the biggest story. That was reported all the time. This is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it.
So it's good. This is the opposite of apartheid. Okay, so it's a good thing. The opposite of apartheid is what? Economic restitution? Thank you. Exactly. I know he's too stupid to understand what he's saying. He's trying to say this is reverse racism. This is reverse racism.
All we know is we're being inundated with people, with white farmers from South Africa. And it's a big problem. Marco Rubio was telling me he's never seen anything like it. The numbers of people that want to leave South Africa because they feel they're going to be dead very soon. Yes, Brian, go.
72% of farmers in your country are white. If they flee, you feel that the economy could collapse.
Dude, yeah. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is the dumbest, most racist argument of all time. The idea that in 2025, a modern nation state that is run by black people is incapable of doing the agricultural output that white people were doing is so stupid. All of the farm workers are black, you dumbass. The idea that like, oh, what will you do? What will South Africa do without the white farm owners is so crazy. Who do you think works the farms? God, this dipshit, dude. The one who was like, oh, why aren't you wearing a suit to Zelensky?
May not have a gap to fill in those people that we replace those farmers.
You know, I'd like my Minister of Agriculture, who is white, who comes from an opposition party to mine, who's joined my government at my invitation to address this very issue, including the question that you've just raised. John?
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Mr. President, thank you for welcoming us to the White House. I would say we have a real state of property in South Africa. I don't think anyone wants to candy coat that. And
this is also part of the reason why I said, like, America actually taking some of the white farmers off the hands of the South African government is not necessarily the worst thing. Partially because they're marginal and inconsequential, but also, yeah, great. This allows the government to actually expropriate some of this land and reallocate those resources to the black farmers. Great. In a weird way, they're so racist that they're unironically helping the interests of black South Africans. That's why I jokingly said they're decolonizing Africa. I don't have an issue with that. I don't like, if these guys want to leave because they feel like they're getting a shitty bargain here, and they're worried that the government might take their land or something, then great. Like, leaving the land is great. There are so many racists on Twitter who have been like, you should salt the earth before you leave those guys. And it's like, dude, you are such a piece of shit. Problem is that they still own the land. Nope, not a problem. Not a problem when you can, when you can take the land. You could just take the land. They're no longer there. It's your land. No, it won't happen. Black oligarchs will take it. Please don't make such statements. Of course, it's probably not the farm owners that are leaving, because why would they leave? They own the farms and they know it's not a real problem. Black oligarchs, yes, that is also not fake. That is real, for the record. That is a real thing. All that took place in South Africa in the aftermath of the apartheid was basically a couple black dudes were able to also reach the highest levels of wealth, and then that was it. It's not wrong to suggest that, like, the ownership changing from white hands to like a singular black one is not going to offer the economic restitution that was promised.
it requires a lot of effort to get on top of it. It's going to require more policing resources. It's going to require different strategy to be able to deal with it. But certainly the majority of South Africa's commercial and smallholder farmers really do want to stay in South Africa and make it work. I've just come from the largest agricultural show in the Southern Hemisphere with organized agriculture and farmers, and the majority of them want to stay. But they too there have a memorial to those who've died as a result of farm attacks. And as the Minister of Agriculture, it is something that I'm particularly exercised with my colleagues of police.
There it is. A member of the group that's being genocided, by the way. This is John Steenhuisen. I hate him so much. He's from the DA party, which is like the Democrat Party in America. Kangaroo Raccoon, please stop making the gorilla analogy. That's why you're getting ignored hard today. Okay? That's why you're getting ignored. Where you're making an analogy that uses gorillas when talking about South Africa. Okay, perhaps that's the reason why I'm not paying attention to your stupid analogy. Please stop. There's also 30,000 other people in here. Obviously, I'm not going to get to every single person and their unique commentary on the situation.
And my colleagues in the Justice Cluster to start making farm attacks and stop a priority.
Welcome to the UAC,
and it affects all
home of the talented
particularly stop
infiltration system
disproportionately affecting small black farmers.
We are the only
Also, I should
corporation
say
with this
this,
technology
that the two
able to
individuals
convert
that
pure
are in that video
into clean control
are
of
both
our
leaders
energy.
of
It powers the
opposition
facility
minority
and is
Mr. Zuma,
providing all the energy your family needs to live a fun
now the reason that my party
and the
has
surrounding comments. But we can't do it alone. It takes a team to make it happen. A team of people full of energy.
was precisely to
Potential
keep those
energy.
people out
Unleash your
of
potential.
power. We cannot have those people sitting in the union building making decisions. And that is why after 50 years of us exchanging bombs across the floor in Parliament and trying to get one over on each other, we've decided to join hands precisely to keep that lost house of government. Because the day they get to the doors of the union buildings in South Africa or controlled by Parliament, that's what you're going to see. And that is why this government...
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ugh. He's literally there to be like, listen, the real villains here are the people who would do a white genocide, which is EFF. Like, that's why we have this coalition. And they are the right wing. Like, the ANC are already neoliberal. And the DA, the Democrat Alliance, is even more right wing than they are. And this dipshit is sitting there being like, no, white genocide will happen if the EFF gets into power. That's why we have this alliance, this allegiance here, after years and years of being an opposition party.
Working together needs the support of our allies around the world, so we can strengthen, grow our economy, and shut the door together on that rabble, getting through the doors of new beginnings with them, South Africa's future.
So you denounce that type of language you did it as a song? Oh yeah, we've always done so. As government, as my own party, we are completely opposed to that. We, in 1955, adopted a document which said South Africa belongs to all who live in it.
But why wouldn't you arrest that man?
Hello,
That man said, kill the white farmers, kill the white farmers. And then he danced, and he's dancing, and it's kill the white farmers. I'm not sure, but I think if somebody got up.
I guess the answer to that question would be, if we don't actually do any sort of expropriation of land, they are gonna win. Okay? Isn't that the whole point? Like, also, like the Kill the Boer shit by the Free Speech Warrior. Kill the Boer is a anti-apartheid song that they're singing, and the entire position of the party, aggressive in its language or not, is that obviously the economic restitution that was promised has not been provided to black South Africans, and they are the ones who are demanding it. The EFF and the CIA as it is there to control black frustration into the neoliberal order which causes the rampant inequality. The Supreme Court here ruled that it is not hate speech. It's just excusing calls for violence. Oh my God. Oh my Lord. Yeah, this is the EFF manifesto. Frequently asked questions, okay? On land expropriation without compensation. They are against the South African government, the current government's, and the Constitution's position that is much lighter terms, okay? The lighter terms here from the ANC is that they get offered market rate for all the farmland that the government takes, okay? The government has the legal responsibility to take the farmland and reappropriate the farmland to black South Africans, okay? The EFF says that no economic restitution whatsoever. And to be fair, I don't even disagree with that position. Like, what do you mean? Economic restitution for land that was stolen from the population that lived there is already ridiculous. But we live in 2025. So I understand why this concession would be made. The very fact that people are still freaking out over it, though, when they want market rates, like when they're freaking out over market rates being paid out to stolen land for farmers, white farmers, is crazy. If you don't let that happen, if you don't let the market rate redistribution of land potentially take place, then yeah, you're gonna actually see this. You're gonna see this attitude take its place. Wait, what? Sounds like there's some middle ground of taking the land away and giving assistance or market rate for some time or some discount being given. Interesting you say that, because that is the middle ground. Hold on.
Up in Parliament and started saying kill a certain group of people, he would be arrested very quickly. That man is going all over South Africa, and that's not a small party. That was a stadium that holds 100,000 people, and I hardly saw an empty seat. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of representation. And those crosses, we have dead white people, dead white farmers, mostly. And you take a look at Australia, they're being inundated, and we're being inundated with people that want to get out. And their farm is valueless. It's valueless. and they just want to get out with their life. And this is a very serious situation. And if we had a real news or real press or media, we don't have that because they won't talk about this because they're all guys like that idiot. But if we had a real press, it would be exposed. And you know, the beauty of exposing it is it's like a cleansing action. When it gets exposed, it'll get fixed. That's when it'll get fixed. But people don't talk about it. And I'll tell you who's talking about the thousands of people that are fleeing South Africa right now.
Will you discuss USAID, the devastating impact the cuts are having across the African continent?
Yeah, well, it's devastating, and hopefully a lot of people are going to start spending a lot of money. And I've talked to other nations. We want them to chip in and spend money too. And we've spent a lot, and it's a tremendous problem.
Sorry, that suggestion that you presented is literally the suggestion that the ANC government is starting the process of acting on, and that is what these guys are calling. That's what Trump is calling a white genocide.
Going on in many countries, a lot of problems going on. The United States always gets the request for money. Nobody else helps, as you know. Europe doesn't help. Europe hasn't given anything. All they do is sue our companies. You know, they sue Apple, and they sue all of our companies. Apple had to pay $17 billion on a nonsense lawsuit. Very unfair. But we're going to always be there to help.
Human rights in South African broadcasting. If this Afrikaner resettlement issue is resolved, we're going to go into a room after this and I'm going to talk. If it is resolved, what's the potential for the future-looking relationships?
It's got to be resolved. It should be resolved. I mean, it's a little bit bad when you see a stadium with 100,000 people in it because that means it's more than just a little movement. It's a pretty big movement in South Africa, so it has to be resolved. It'll be the end of the country.
Hassan, your charitability is something I aspire to obtain myself. My brain shuts down when I hear racist people speak about anything involving a minority. I just want to... He's a man waving his gun. Yeah. What? People are not 100% responsible for the actions of their ancestors. Some retribution seems fair. Wait, what? Yeah, except these guys are quite literally continuing that same exact unjustifiable hierarchy. That's the problem here. The problem here is, you know, that is what these guys are seeking to continue.
I hope so. That's why I'm here. I mean, I'm not here for my health. I'm here to... No, I'd like to see. I have friends. I can tell you, Ernie L, Steve Ducin, they feel so strong they wanted to be here on behalf of South Africa, not on behalf of me. And, you know, they said, can we be here for this? Because they love the country. Ernie, you're going to want to say a couple of words? I hate to put you in this. This is tougher than sinking a 3-footer. They have, and they've sank many 3-footers.
Thank you. Thanks for the honor of being here. We've known each other a long time.
Yeah, they brought the golfer to appease Trump. Seemingly it didn't work.
Throughout South Africa, I saw that from South Africa. We travel with this passport, you know, and got my visa here. So, you know, but we want to see things get better in our home country. But that's the bottom line. It's been 35 years since the transition. President Ramaphosa was right in the middle of the time in 1990 and before that. So it's been 35 years of ANC government. And I know there's a lot of anger, you know, through the transition. There's a lot of stuff happening in the apartheid days. You know, we grew up in the apartheid era. But I don't think two wrongs makes a right. You know, President Mandela, when he came out of prison for all that time, didn't come out with hatred. You know, and really unified our nation through sport. You know, we won the Rugby World Cup in '95. We won the African Nations Cup, soccer. You know, we won some majors as golfers and so forth. So what I'm trying to say is, this has been a long time coming. That's why we really wanted to meet you, the administration, and see our way forward. But we still want to see our country go. You know, we've got some great things going on. Business is getting involved with government. Farmers are getting involved in local municipalities, trying to rebuild some of the infrastructure that's been decaying for a long time. So there's a lot of coexistence going on in health from a lot of areas. But I feel we need the US to push this thing through. We've got a great ally we can have, the US. It's always been an ally of South Africa for a very long time. Even in the days of the war, you know, up in Angola, you know, you guys helped us. So, very important for us to get support and, you know, get the change we need. What did you do that well? Even better than he was going.
Why all of those great properties was the advocate for Petra. Number one, for Australia, Mr. Malia, and that's the first time I heard it. He was in the youth, that's just the place. And look how we pray. We have seen it, but it's a cross. It's not only white. It's across the board. And we need better Washington help. We need starting at every little police station. We need drones. I actually got drones donated for the Peace Corps to stop elephant and rhino poaching. And his predecessor stopped the importation because he said the United States would spy on him. I think the US faces the ridicule. So if you can help. Remember, sir, you and I lived in New York in the 70s. We never thought New York would be what it became. Two commissioners, South Carolina. We need your help to stop the torture. But it's across the board.
I can't believe it. Dude, the more I hear white South Africans talk, the more I hear white South African Bond villains talk about the conditions in the backdrop of Donald Trump claiming that there's a genocide, and these guys are supposed to be the ones who are like, it's not happening, Mr. President, but also it kind of is happening. The more I understand the EFF position. It took me like 35 seconds to hear from the richest man in South Africa for me to be like, okay, I get what Malema's talking about. Like, this is the guy who's supposed to be like, Mr. President, it's not happening. But he can't help himself. He has to turn around and be like, you know, it's across the board, Mr. President, but also look at what has happened to New York. It's like, dude, why are you trying to export? Like, I guess, like, this is why I say why South Africans, like, can be either very cool people or just as hog-like as the American racists are. This is the guy who is like an American hog. He's like, yeah, we gotta be tough on crime, Mr. President. It's not a, like, he has the positive position here because he's at least like denying that the charges of genocide, but then still being like, yeah, but we gotta make sure we do away with this criminal element in the country. Like, you're not wrong. These blacks are getting out of control.
Ernie's right now building a plane house in
energy signature
I'm building
indicates
3
that it is nearing
cottages
the
for my
top of the
grandchildren
facility.
on a farm outside Structures that accumulate near the I'm not going to go to bed without locking the door. And we have a serious problem with illegal aliens who stream across the border. And if you read the law about the prisons, a lot of these murders. First is unemployment and illegal aliens. And then I met Vice President Obama many years ago.
Amazing.
My wife loved people. And she reminded me this morning that you emphasize the devastation that occurs when big companies leave towns and cities, and there's a culture of dependency that develops. I remember you discussing it. Now that's our problem. If we don't get our economy to grow, the culture of dependency and the lawlessness will increase. I've been against apartheid all my life, and I'm their number one target. Please just Google my name and Malema. You'll see it. The e-march the crime is terrible, sir, but Mr. Steenhuisen was that not do it, but he runs the Western Cape down there. And the biggest murder rate is in the Cape Flats. Gangs. We've got gang warfare. Like your M53 with the side. We've got the equivalent, but we need your help. And we need technology.
Well, one of the real areas for support is really in investments. We've got to grow our economy, because through growing the economy, we then able to create more jobs. Because really thrives where there is inequality and unemployment. And that is one of the reasons that has brought us here to improve our investment relations, our trade relations, so that we can preserve the number of jobs that your companies have created in South Africa by virtue of what we export to you.
And the biggest murder rate is in the Cape Flats. Gangs. We've got gang warfare. Like your M53 with these guys. We've got the equivalent, but we need your help, sir. And we need technology.
Well, one of the real areas for support is really in investment. We've got to grow our economy, because through growing the economy, we're then able to create more jobs. Because crime really thrives where there is inequality and unemployment. And that is one of the reasons that has brought us here to improve our investment relations, our trade relations, so that we can preserve the number of jobs that your companies have created in South Africa. By virtue of what we export to you, we are able to create up to 500,000 jobs in the auto industry, in the agricultural industry, and a number of other industries, mining, where we export things to. And we also know that as South African companies invest here, you are also able to create jobs. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship. So our main real reason for being here is to foster trade and investment so that we are able to grow our economy, your support, and so that we are also able to address all these societal problems, because criminality thrives when people are unemployed, when they have no other home to eke out the living. So that is what we need to resolve. So support, your partnership with us is what is really going to give us a strong capability.
I think Lil Bear is correct. Ramaphosa was so good at glazing Trump without conceding. I won't vote for the man, but he's incredible with diplomacy. He navigated this so well. I will give credit. I feel like if you are a black South African politician, you know your way around talking to racist white people. Like, I feel like it just comes with the territory. You are an expert at navigating conversations with like some of the most heinous racist people alive.
Demand
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. President Ramaphosa. I grew up in an area in South Africa that used farming area for a while. And there is some issues up there. Obviously, my dad was a property developer as well as a farmer on the farm. And yeah, some of these black farmers are still, the farm is still going. My brothers run it. But it's a constant battle with farms they're trying to burn the farms down to chase you away. So it is a concern to try and make a living as a farmer. And at the end, without farmers, there's no food on the plate. So we need farmers to build a world.
They love the farmers. They don't want to leave.
Yeah, and food and fresh water is most important thing in life. Without those two things are important.
How is the water there?
The water is great, obviously. All the water comes out of the borehole and out of ground for us. But yeah, it is a battle to get the water out sometimes. All the equipment gets stolen all the time. They try to get the water out. They have behind electric fences, to try and keep it nice, safe. But it is constant whenever you leave that something could happen. But they might be attacking houses, constantly attacking houses. So it is difficult. But, the guys live a great life despite everything going on.
I like that all the fucking rich white guys that they brought along are basically giving Trump enough ammunition to believe that there is definitely a white genocide and they're too afraid to just openly recognize it. That's cool. Because like this right here is enough for him to be like, see, I was right. Like they're saying it's not a genocide. But basically, it kind of is. Thank you, Mr. President, for saving South Africa.
The largest trade union in our country, Zing Foundation, because she needs many, many workers, more than 1 million, 1.5 million workers. And maybe we should give her a chance to say something. Sure, she's come all the way to join us.
Thank you very much, Mr. President Trump. Thank you. President, for extending the invitation to us as organized labor. And I must say that we are here to support the initiative that has been made by our government's business force as organized labor. We've been coming to Washington on the AGOA trade relations in the previous regime. And I think at the center of it all, for me, it is exactly what Mr. Rupert has said, the importance of us growing the economy. We have always emphasized when we were here and kept on coming and negotiating the 600 US companies that are based in South Africa. As you said, President Ramaphosa, 500,000 jobs will be wiped out. We need more foreign direct investment in our country. We are not just talking about those that will lose employment, but we are talking about over 40% of people that are unemployed, that have no hope.
That was crazy. Quick on and off there. Anyway, we're still here.
As they have said that we need to deal with the issue of porous borders in our country so that everyone that comes in is documented. We also need to, and I would have thought that the minister would address the issue of land expropriation and how the policy works in South Africa. Recently, President, as you were preparing to come here on the news, I think it was in Natal, there was a handover of farms, and white farmers were saying, we are donating the land, but also there's a willing buyer, willing seller in South Africa. So there is no expropriation without compensation, but it is a willing buyer, willing seller. And that white farmer was even saying that the government is even paying more in buying the land than what the land is worth for. And I think those are the realities, President, that we must say that we need to address, of course, but also the importance of agriculture linked to our goal. People rely on it, and I think, as Retief said, for survival and living. But lastly, for me,
I know this is like kind of Rad Libby and aesthetics focused, but I can't help but notice the way in which he listens to black people in that room versus the white people. Like, the disparity, the difference is too overt to not take note of. He literally, one, constantly cuts off all the black people that speak, and he just lets people spit if lets the white guys speak. And on top of that, he's just like so visibly not listening and so visibly upset when the union leader is talking.
President, is also the issue of the crime statistics. There is no doubt about it that we are a violent nation. You know, for a number of reasons.
She's not even saying anything all that different from the white guys either.
But if you go into the rural areas where black majority are, you will see women, elderly, being raped, being killed, being murdered, and these are black elderly women that would be found throat slits, raped multiple times, and all of that. And the problem in South Africa, it is not necessarily about race, but it is about crime. And we think that we are here to say, how do we, both nations, work together to research, to really talk about investment, but also help us in how we can have the technology and everything that is needed, President, to really address the levels of crime that we have in our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Genocide is a very strong word. I'm wondering if you can make up your mind as to whether you believe genocide is occurring in South Africa, or you still doubt it. If you can make up your mind, why is President Ramaphosa here today?
Well, I haven't made up my mind. I hate to see it from the standpoint of South Africa, but also, I'm trying to save lives. I'm working with Russia and Ukraine. I don't have to do that. It's not our war. It was started by other people. Something along by our past administration. It would have never happened if I were president, but I'm trying to save lives. And no matter where. Rwanda, I have nothing to do with Rwanda and the Congo, but I felt I had a very talented person in this administration, and I sent him there. And he did an unbelievable job, I think. I mean, we're going to find out, but he's done the hardest part of the job. It should happen. If I can save lives, I want to save the lives. If it's in Africa, that's great. If it's in Europe, if it's wherever it may be. And it's a very small investment to do, believe me, compared to what the consequences are. So I hope we can do something. Look, I have so many friends. These two men, I have great admiration for them because I know what they do for a living. And that's a very hard living. Going from city to city, from country to country, and hitting a ball 350 yards like they do, and getting the ball in the hole. It's a very tough, with lots of people watching, right? That's a very tough living. They're champions. I respect champions. And I respect very much, and I think the country is very lucky. They really wanted to be here. They could be elsewhere. They could be on.
It really worked, bro. It actually worked. Like, bringing the golfers is such a stupid, juvenile thing, and it literally worked. Like, he's laughing because he's like, I can't believe how stupid this guy is. All you need to do is give him a golf book and then put him in the presence of a couple golfers that he recognizes, and he's set. He's like, I don't know, maybe no genocide. After all, this golfer said, and he's white, no genocide has taken place. So I guess there's no genocide now. My bad. Bye-bye. Coco Melon is Scorsese for this man? Yeah, no, it's just put a couple rich white dudes in front of him to be like, Mr. President, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about with this genocide shit in the lightest terms. And he goes, all right, never mind. Wasn't real. Sorry. Yeah, if there were Palestinian golfers, maybe he would stop the genocide that he is participating in. That was the big issue here, I guess.
So,
how important is it for the United States to be at our G20 summit in November, given the relationship between our two countries? You just heard what has been said to you just now. Are you coming, and are you preparing to come?
So without the United States, the G20, just like the G7, used to be the G8, but brilliantly they threw Russia out. Would have been a lot better if Russia was in. You know, a lot of people would say, oh, that's not it. Because if Russia was in, you probably wouldn't have this war. And if you had a different president, you wouldn't have the war either. But we have a G7. It's important that the United States is involved. I think without the United States, it's I really believe it's not very important. It's not the same meaning.
As I said to President Trump, the U.S. really originated the G20. And it's important that the United States continues to play a key role in the G20. And we are privileged to be the president of the G20. But we are even overjoyed that we are going to handle to the United States was originated. And for that reason, I expect the United States to continue playing a leadership role in the G20 together with other countries. And I've said when I initially spoke to President Trump on the phone, I want him to come to South Africa for a state visit. And I also want him to come and participate in the G20. And I want to gladly hand over to President Trump to take the leadership of the G20 forward in November.
Thank you very much. Thank you. You don't want to leave.
You said it's very quality for Trump to listen to both sides, except the one side is just making shit up, and they're not even like a big enough side to listen to. It's just a bunch of it's a handful of people on the one side claiming falsely there's a genocide taking place, and on the other side you have the entirety of the country, down to the richest, whitest people in the country being like, yeah, it's bullshit. It's crazy. Luckily, I guess, for South Africa, the golfers are on the side. Luckily for South Africa, the white golfers were on the side of no, it's not a real genocide. You know? I wish you'd stop eating on camera. Okay. Here, eat this perma. Hassan Reaction is one of the best ones in the React channel.
Outside the ship, but nothing's showing up on the radar. Never mind, it's a gigantic red dot, the biggest I've ever fucking seen.
Mark, you have that giant red circle on you. Mark, move. Mark, move.
Oh my god, oh my god!
Did you see it, Mark?
I did not see it. I felt something pulling at my soul. What about those moons that we have to pay for? What are, the primo moons?
The next time we get together, we
definitely afford as long as we don't screw Tomato.
We're crushing this. This might be $1,000 haul.
Boys, that was a $970 haul.
I say that's a good day, and I think it's the fitting start of a new chapter. Is that a gun? Is that a gun?
No, it's a laser pointer, but it's
I thought that was the moment of betrayal where you were gonna just shoot me as I'm saying a new chapter on our life. I really hope Lixian edits it so that's like the end.
Is that a gun? Oh!
Is that Ryan Reynolds? Is that Ryan Reynolds?
Is that Ryan Reynolds? Gotta hit the gritty, boys. Gotta hit the gritty.
How do you...
Oh, my
oh, that's a good mod.
I gotta rejoin. I'll be right back.
Oh, boy. This is great. Is this doing what I think it's doing?
Oh, it's doing it. Thumbnail right there. Mark works. Oh yeah, Mark, here. You know, do I look like a minion to you?
Kinda.
Welcome to the UAC. Opening the gates of hell, the key to the future.
Oh, God.
Pick your favorite poison. Hey, Ghostbusters, nice.
Yeah. All right. I got some. You guys want to hear something cool?
Sure. You were right, Ryan. That's not cool.
Wait for it. Okay, can you hear that?
Yeah. So that's
What's that?
Yeah, that's a Geiger counter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Are you radioactive?
You got in your room.
High. 0.78 microsieverts per hour.
That sounds like a lot of.
I hate that you both have the eyeballs.
But mine is fancy. If you like my hat child.
Yeah.
I thought you would find this a lot more fascinating than it was.
Look, it's background radiation, man.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like I get little beats here and there without being able to see what's going on. It's just like
okay, all right, yeah. Just I have something radioactive, and you guys don't care about it, but whatever.
We don't see that. We just hear the noises.
Yeah, whatever. You don't care.
The podcast. I can't see what you're doing.
You don't care. It's fine. The podcast?
The podcast?
What? All right. So welcome back, I guess, to Lethal Company. Yeah, that's new. I didn't do anything to make any of this happen. It was actually Wade, and no one would believe that. If you're an avid listener of the podcast, no one would ever believe that. Wade.
I don't think Wade made this happen of his own accord. I believe he played with other people who listened together, and he just shared some code with us. I don't want to cast this person. Is that accurate?
Right. Well, whatever.
Until next time.
I'll give him.
See you guys.
Credit.
Well, that was the shortest episode that he's ever done. You gonna milk this session into an 80-part series?
I was gonna try to 80 30-second parts.
Yeah. I miss 10-minute episodes.
Anyone watch my videos? How long are they? I don't see them.
We have 1,400 buccarinos. We can go somewhere cool.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we have a teleport. What do we have right now? We have a teleporter. Do we have any items?
We probably have some walkie. Oh, look at that! Look at the stuff
we do.
We have.
A couple flashlights, a couple shovels.
Items.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I
Mark.
can't grab until the ship has landed. I'm sorry.
Mark.
Yeah?
No, I love you. You're beautiful.
All right, thank you.
You want to see a new moon, Mark?
Always. Oh, whoa, 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 hey, I thought you were sending me to the moon.